Hello and welcome to my beginner's tutorial on EVE Online. In the event you don't know what EVE Online is, here's a short description. It does not take a very powerful computer to run, but still manages to look great. Currently is a great time to get into the game, as there's currently a lot going on, including a massive player war, and there are a large number of newbie-friendly, or new-bro-friendly, player corporations open to recruitment. It's a subscription game. However, it is possible to pay for your subscription using in-game currency. So it's known as plexing, and I'll talk about it later. It's a space game set in the far future, in a remote and isolated part of the galaxy known as New Eden. In terms of the gameplay, any player can essentially do anything at any time. There's very few rules. Some activities that might even result in a ban in most MMOs, such as scamming, are actively encouraged by the game mechanics. The economy is effectively entirely player-run, and can fluctuate and change similarly to a real economy. The learning curve of this game is extremely sharp, and often results in information overload, so take it slow at first. I may use terms I haven't mentioned before, but explain them later. You may need to reference or Google or previous videos if I do this. And feel free to ask any questions. I'll do my best to answer anything. I've left a trial link in the description that you can use to sign up for an account, install the game, and follow along if you wish. Now that that's out of the way, let's get to creating a character. Here you see 4 Empire's regions of space on a map. The Caldari in grey, Galente in teal, Amar in gold, and Minmatar in rust. Clicking on each of these will give you a short video and a description of the faction. Here the Caldari in the lore are a state run by megacorporations. They tend to use missiles and hybrid guns for offense and shields for defense. I'll talk about those later. The Galente are the democratic freedom type. They use drones and hybrid guns for offense, armor for defense. The Amar are a religious, theocratic, and monarchical state with an emperor or empress. They like lasers for offense and use armor for defense. The Minmatar are a faction that was enslaved by the Amar Empire, but broke free in a massive rebellion. Their ships are the most versatile, but because of this are also the most difficult to use. They can use almost anything. For the purposes of this tutorial video, I'm going to create an Amar character. When picking a race, all it affects is your spawn location and your starting skills. No matter what your starting skills are, you can easily train to use any of the 4 factions. Here you select a character. All this does is affect your appearance. Here is the character creation screen. You get a bunch of options. So let's create a character. On this screen, you adjust your pose, your facial expression, and the background, and the lighting. You take screenshots of different poses, and then pick your favorite. This can all be changed later. These selections influence your spawn position. I'm just going to call him Joe. Now you spawn in space, in a spaceship. See the UI looks like a little spreadsheet, doesn't it? If you move things around, resize, make it a little nicer, a little more usable. Down here's your chat box. This is the overview. It's very useful. This is a selected item window, also very useful. Just make it nice and big so you can see everything. Down here's your notifications. And this is an opportunities window. This is basically a little tutorial. Give you a little bit of direction in the beginning. You can follow this to get a little idea of the controls. It wants us to look at something. There's a couple ways we can do this. Click on something in the overview, or in space. There's an icon here that looks like an eye. You can hit that. Or, the Alt key is the shortcut. Another way, you can right-click on it, either in space and hit look at, or on the overview, hit look at, or you could click and drag, and you get a series of options, including look at. You can do that on the overview as well. I'm going to look at the Narco Pusher. There's another ship. Now it wants us to look at our ship. There's another couple ways we can do that. Either with the button up here, right click, look at my ship, or look at my ship. Now it wants us to move. It'll give us another way. Manual piloting, there's a couple ways we can do that. Double clicking in space. That's what it wants us to do. There's another way, is if you set up the controls in the options, you can set pitch down, up, or turn left, turn right to the arrow, and use those to fly. Now it wants us to approach something. You can once again use the selected item window, right clicking, or left click and drag. You can go through each of these. Now it wants us to fight. There's a couple ways we can do that. First, it wants us to orbit the hostile. He's red, he's hostile. We can orbit him. We can do that. Or of course, use the menu. Wants us to lock it. I can use selected item window. Now we have guns. This thing here is a gun. We could use that to fight him. However, you can see when we mouse over it, its fall-off range and optimal range are very short distances, so we need to get very close in order to fight him. Let's wait till that happens. Now we're close enough to fight. He dropped a wreck. If we select that and approach it, we can loot it. There's the open cargo button. He had loot. We can take it. Loot all. Now it wants us to start skill training. This would be a good time for me to talk about this. Skill training, skills in EVE are not like most MMOs. They're trained over time, whether you're logged in or logged off. You don't need to do anything. You click your character to open the character sheet. On the skills window, you can hit open training queue. There's nothing in there right now. It wants us to train a skill, so I'll train something that won't take long. Once you've put a skill into your queue, hit apply. And it'll start training, whether you're online or offline. Skills in EVE are not very deep, they're very broad. What I mean by skills are very broad, but not very deep, is that once you've trained a skill to level 5, it is maxed out. There's no further you can go with that. There's a lot of different skills that have different effects and unlock different things. However, once you get to level 4 or 5, there's little more you can do. This is how even a new player can be effective from the beginning, even if you're fighting an older player. An older player will win 99 times out of 100 a one-on-one against a new player. However, in a group, a new player can be very dangerous. Because even though they don't have a lot of skills and can't use a lot of things, they might be able to use a few things fairly well. If you right-click on anything, you can hit Show Info to learn more about it. For example, my small energy turret skill. At level 1, currently we have it at level 3. At level 1, it unlocks all of these. At level 3, it unlocks another skill. At level 5, it unlocks Tech 2 and more skills. See its description. It gives a 5% bonus per level to the damage of small energy turrets. And see the attributes here. It has a primary and secondary attribute. You can ignore these for now. It also has a training time multiplier, which is only 1 time, meaning it is one of the fastest skills to train in the game. And you can also see, once again, the effect it has is a 5% increase. Now the game wants us to enter warp. So, I will select something in the overview, or in space, either works. So I'll go to the sun. Now, I can warp to it. Just hit warp. We've arrived at the sun. Now the game wants us to dock. There's only one station in system. As you can see in the overview, its icon is a square. There's only one here, so let's go there. There's a dock icon on the selected item. We can hit that. Our ship will warp there and dock right away. Now it wants us to move items from the cargo to the hangar. We picked up a few items from the wreck we looted, so we can move that in here now. The game mentions the Neocom. That is this huge bar on the left full of icons. It wants us to access the inventory, which is this box here. I'm going to select these, drop them in the item hangar. The item hangar is a storage container with infinite size in every station. Now it wants us to undock. The game wants us to mine now. We're going to have to go to an asteroid belt, but as you can see, there's none on the overview. However, the overview has multiple tabs. There's one here labeled mining. Now we can see asteroid belts. Let's go to the closest one. Now might be a good time to talk about the thing at the bottom here. This in the middle is your capacitor. That's how much energy your ship has to use. It regenerates over time. Warping and using modules will drain your capacitor. If it is 0, you won't be able to warp, and you will not be able to activate modules. Above it is your hull, your armor, and your shield. This is your health. Shield regenerates on its own. Structure and armor do not. If your structure reaches 0, your ship is destroyed. This icon here is your safeties. If you click it, you can disable or partially disable your safeties. This is not recommended unless you're planning on performing PvP. For now, keep it green. On the right side are your modules. These take power and perform functions. Now, we have to approach an asteroid, so let's do that now. I've selected one on the overview. It's over there. We can target lock it and orbit it. Now, while we're approaching, I talk about the left. On the left side of your capacitor is your cargo hold. That's one way to access it. Another way is to access it on the top left through the Neocom. There's the tactical camera. which shows ranges and positions. There's the tactical overlay. The orbit camera. And the first-person camera, used for manual piloting. With the orbit camera, something to do is to right-click on it and you can toggle auto-tracking. What this means is when you click on something, your camera will track it. Now that we're close enough to the asteroid, we can use our mining laser. We have a gun and a mining laser. To extract ore, we need to use our mining laser. You can see a bar filling up around it. This is the activation time. When it completes, we'll receive ore in our cargo hold. This button here are scanners. There's a probe scanner, used for exploration. We'll talk about that later. There's moon analysis, which is something you won't be able to use for a long time. And directional scan. We can also talk about this later. This little A is the autopilot. Try to avoid that. Now it wants us to use the market to sell the ore that we just mined. So, if we head to the station, we can do that. Let's take a look at the ore we mined. We mined 230 scordite, which if we mouse over, the entire stack is worth about 6,000 disk, which is the currency in the game. This little Z icon over here is your wallet. It'll show you how much you have. To sell the ore, we have to move it into our item hangar. Let's do that now. Now that it's here, we can right-click it, and we can hit sell. If we like the price, which I do, I can hit sell. Yes. We've now sold the ore, and our wallet shows that we have more money. That ore was just bought by a player who might use it to refine and create something. Now we have to buy something. Many things in the market are going to be too expensive for us to buy. I don't have enough money to buy anything, so I'm going to go out and I'm going to mine some more ore to sell. As we mine, our cargo hold will fill up. That indicator was that the cargo hold was nearly full. Our cargo hold is now full, so we can dock and sell our ore. We've now purchased an item. Now it wants us to do fitting. Fitting can be accessed through the Neocom with this button, or on the station services on this side with this button. We have to unfit a module, fit one back up, and we have to fit a mid-slot. So we have to find a mid-slot. A good one for this is an afterburner. Now the game wants us to chat. I'm going to salute, or wave in local. Start a private conversation. Let's just pick someone. Now the game wants us to add a contact. We can do that just by clicking on someone and hitting add contact. Now the game wants us to use a Stargate. Stargates appear on the overview. Their symbols look like this. You can hit the jump button to pass through it. If we want to, we can click on someone and see their information. Now we have to set a destination using the map. The map looks like this. This is the map. It's colored by security status. Places in blue are the safest, followed by green, then yellow. Once you get into orange, you go into low security space, in which any player can shoot at any time. Red is null security space. A lot of null security space is owned by players. They control it, they make the rules, and they enforce the rules. In high security space, however, while technically any player can do anything they want, including shoot you, there are police around that will retaliate. However, there's a time delay on this. If they're fast enough, they might be able to kill you before the police arrive. But for now, we just have to set a destination. So let's set a destination back to where we just came from. Here we can kill two birds with one stone. It wants us to use autopilot, but also to jump into the next station in the route. So if we activate our autopilot here, we can use it. Autopilot is generally very slow, and will often result in you getting shot, so I recommend you do not use it whenever possible. I'll disable it here. Now we have to perform industry. We're going to need ore for that. So let's go to an asteroid belt. Notice the modules we installed earlier are now displayed down here. The afterburner will make us go faster when it's active, but use our capacitor. The civilian armor repairer will repair our armor, something that doesn't happen normally. Let's approach an asteroid and lock it. As you can see, our speed here below our capacitor. It's pretty slow. If we activate our afterburner, we can go a lot faster. Now that we've gotten close, we can turn it off. And we'll slow back down. Let's mine our ore. With our ore in the item hangar, we can right-click it and hit reprocess. We'll receive minerals for it. It wants us to use these minerals to create one of these, the blueprint we picked up earlier. So we can do that. It'll take 5 minutes. The manufacturing job will show up here on the Jobs tab of the Industry menu. You can access the Industry menu at any time with this button here, or with this button here. Now we just wait for it to complete. The manufacturing job is complete. We can hit deliver. The player we met earlier was nice enough to give us 10 million ISK. That'll speed us up considerably. Now we need to visit a cosmic anomaly. We need a probe launcher. So we need to get a scan probe launcher. There's none here, so we can go get one. Let's set destination there. Undock and travel there. But first we have to visit a cosmic anomaly. Those are accessed through the scanners window, down here. Find your probe scanner. These are anomalies. We can just warp straight to them. This anomaly has ore in it. You can tell from the probe scanner. It'll tell you what it is. It's an ore site. You'll find ore here. We need to go get that probe launcher. To do that, we'll have to travel through jump gates. The system we're in now is called a MAR. It happens to be one of the largest trade hubs in the game. We'll be sure to find something here. Now, we need a probe launcher, so let's get that now. However, to go with the probe launcher, we're also going to need probes. So we can get those now. We'll need 8 of them. We can fit the probe launcher onto our ship and load its probes. Then undock. There's not going to be anything here because this trade system is so big. So I'm going to use the map. We can find something nearby. Let's try that system. I'll keep my probe scanner open. There's a cosmic signature here. I'm going to approach the gate just to decloak my ship. When you pass through a gate, you're cloaked for a limited period of time, so you're safe. But to do anything, you need to be decloaked. So I will launch the probes. They're now in space. Using the probe scanner window, I can hit this button. This button opens a special scanning map. There's another button here you'll need to hit. Launch pinpoint formation. That makes it easier to scan things down. Now you want to position the center using the camera. There. And then we can expand the probe range. Now that the red circle is entirely in the center, we can use the probe scanner window and hit Analyze. The probes will take a few seconds, and they'll start scanning. You can see this signature has a little red bar that's appeared. We've got it 6.9% scanned. So if we reposition our probes over the red dot, then shrink them by 1 size, and scan again. And repeat. We can see now that we've scanned it to a certain point, we can tell what kind of site it is. It's a combat site. Let's keep scanning. We successfully scanned it. That's all we needed to do, so now we can move on. Using this probe scanner window, we can recall our probes, and then reload the probe launcher. Now we need to use the agent finder. I'm going to cancel the route destination by removing the waypoint, and head back into Amar. We're going to head back to the same station as before. In the station, there's a little button here called Agent Finder. There's filter options too. The ones we want to look for, under Agent Type, you want to filter for Career. These are the kinds of missions that we'll be able to run. We can set location, or destination, to that station. I'm going to collect everything I have in the item hangar, and travel there.